like this, why we love college football.
U.S. just had too much firepower.
A lot of stars for you on Sunday Night Football.
One of the great venues in sports. Welcome to Arrowhead, home of the Super Bowl champion Chiefs and the start of the NFL season. The party is already underway.
Chiefs is Kansas City.
Go Chiefs!
The Chiefs Kingdom is a family. There's just something about Midwestern folk, how we get together.
We all absorb the Chiefs into our DNA. It's part of who we are and what we're about.
Arrowhead, the world champion Super Bowl Chiefs. Chiefs Kingdom will raise a banner. Go Chiefs!
I don't think there's a fan base in the NFL like the Chiefs Kingdom.
Hey, don't forget us.
We coming for you, Kansas City. That's outstanding. Remember how we finished last year? This team has come to life. We're coming for the whole kingdom.
He's in for a very rude awakening.
Having them win a Super Bowl made it an amazing time to be a Chiefs fan.
How about those?
Well, the Chiefs title celebration here was a little subdued a few years ago because of COVID, but not the case tonight. Over 70,000 fans will be here to help unveil the Chiefs' second Super Bowl banner in the last 4 years. And with Patrick Mahomes headlining what he hopes to be the NFL's next dynasty, we'll see what they have in store for us week 1. But tonight, he won't have his favorite target. All-Pro tight end Travis Kelce is inactive with a knee injury suffered in practice on Tuesday. So it's the first hurdle the Chiefs look to overcome as their title defense begins against Dan Campbell and the Lions, who for the first time in a long time have high expectations of their very own. As we bring you the NFL Kickoff presented by YouTube TV. The fans are excited and they have a lot to be happy about. 2 titles in the last 4 years and an opportunity to build a dynasty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the field here at Arrowhead. Maria Taylor alongside Devin McCourty and Jason Garrett. You've waited 207 days since Super Bowl 57 for the NFL to kick off. It's happening right now. You guys have 6 Super Bowl rings between the two of you, but I only noticed the 3 sitting right in front of me. Jason, I don't know where yours
Jason
went.
Garrett should have came ready today.
They look like
bracelets.
So I'm going to start with you, Devin. What is it like to be a player in the locker room coming off of a Super Bowl title looking to defend it?
I'm happy you started me because Jason defended it and won it. I fell a little short, but that offseason was usually the hardest offseason I've ever been through. Bill would come in, he goes, don't wear any of that Super Bowl stuff. Nobody wants to see it. Last year is over, and then he would crush us every single day. But it's all for this, to be out here. The banner comes down. You want to be playing high-level football to start, to show the rest of the league, we're still here. You got to try to knock us off this mountain, and we're not leaving quietly.
Yeah, no doubt, and nobody knows this feeling and this challenge better than you do. The distractions when you're a championship team, they get magnified. The teams that have the best chance have great leadership at their quarterback position and at the head coach position. When I was in Dallas, Troy Aikman's our quarterback, Jimmy Johnson's our head coach. They kept everybody in line, and I think Kansas City has the same thing with Mahomes and Andy Reid. Maria, there's a misperception about Andy Reid. Everybody thinks he's kind of this grandfather figure. He's a gadgety coach. They have merry-go-round huddles. Okay, this is an old-school football coach. Dev, go to practice. The shirts are tucked in. Fast-paced practice. These guys are running. So Mahomes and Andy Reid are going to keep these guys locked in. I'm betting on the Chiefs.
People know, like, usually you wear that GPS unit. There's no GPS in Kansas City.
You threw that out a long time ago.
No one cares. And they're going to need that leadership. You talk about distractions. They got Chris Jones. He's not here. You got Kelce, like you mentioned. He's not playing tonight. They need that leadership to take over. And that's what it'll come down to tonight.
Hey, look, we're going to break down Kelce and Jones being out, the impact that could have for the Chiefs here. Stadium and outside as well. Collinsworth, Rodney Harrison, Tony Dungy. Take it away. I know you're enjoying the fun outside.
You know, Maria.
The news was tough. The party still sounds the exact same. Chiefs Kingdom, they are hungry. They're already thinking about another ring. They were welcoming you back. This is one of your many stops during your coaching journey.
It is, Jack. I coached here 3 years, and the fans were like this every week. It is a great group.
I can't believe football is back. I had an opportunity to play in the AFC West, so I got a chance to come here every year for 9 years. Just an incredible crowd.
And you guys know this feeling, of course. You won a Super Bowl as a player and as a coach. Rodney, back-to-back Super Bowls. The last team to ever do it, you, of course, were on that team as a leader. So what's different going back to work after a ring?
Well, Jason talked about old school, and I won mine my second year with the Steelers. We were old school. Our receptionist started answering the phone, world champion Pittsburgh Steelers. Mr. Rooney said, no, we don't do that. We're just the Steelers. We got to go to work. I noticed all you Patriot guys wear your... I don't wear mine. We got ours. Joe Green said, you have 1 week, young man, to show that off and then put them away. I don't want to see a ring again because we got more to win. I still don't wear my ring.
Guys, the toughest part of repeating as champions is fighting complacency. And I don't worry about the Chiefs because Andy Reid, he's been a head coach for 25 years, and he understands in this league how difficult it is to win, even if you have Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback. And Patrick Mahomes, he's going to stay locked in. I definitely don't worry about him staying motivated.
No, and you're right. And it's not always all complacency. Sometimes you got to calm guys down. I remember Jeff Saturday telling me at the parade, hey, tell Peyton we played a month already. I don't need to practice tomorrow with him.
And these two quarterbacks, they got some history as well. You think back to 2018, it was that Monday night, over 100 points were scored last time these two quarterbacks got together. Chris Sims, he's down on the field watching them warm up for round number 2. All you, Sims?
Well, that's right. Thanks, Jack. Let's get to it. The man of the hour, Patrick Mahomes, right off the bat, watching him warm up. Hey, shocker. He threw it awesome. It was spinning. It's a great night for a quarterback here. There's a little humidity in the air. The ball sticks to your hands. I had a chance to talk to him about a week ago about all the things he does in this warm-up routine, backpedaling, sidearms, all the different launching points. And his answer to me was, practice makes perfect. He knows he's going to have to pull out some of these throws in the game, so he wants to get a feel for it in pregame and be at his best when that time comes. One last thing on Mahomes, I said, man, no Travis Kelce tonight. And Mahomes, in a Mahomes way, looked at me with a little grin and said, we'll be all right. Now, on the other side, Jared Goff, okay, threw the ball great as well. And then talk to his offensive coordinator, Mark Brunell, quarterback coach Mark Brunell, excuse me. And the big thing he looked at with Jared Goff, he said he's a perfectionist. He's hard on himself. He's always trying to do better. And year 2 in the system, he's just got a greater understanding of what offensive coordinator Ben Johnson wants, why they're running plays, what to check to. So I think we're going to see a very comfortable Jared Goff in a very hostile environment tonight, Maria.
All right, Chris. Well, Jared Goff and those Lions coming off a winning season for the first time since 2017. And remember how that season went? They lost 6 of their first 7 games before winning 8 of their last 10, including going on the road and getting a win in Lambeau. And here they are now. The hype train has rolled into week 1 of the season. They're chosen to take on the defending champions. Do you think the success from last year will carry over to this week?
You know, Maria, I spent a day with the Lions in training camp. Dan Campbell's a good buddy of mine. This hype train thing is real. It was on the mind of the players. It was on the mind of the coaches. They kind of liked being an underdog last year. They were 1-6. Everybody was looking past them. They win 8 out of their last 10. They like that. But this thing is happening. They're playing the world champs opening night of the NFL season. They think they built the team the right way. General manager Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, they think they have the right kind of guys who can handle this outside noise.
I mean, speaking of Brad Holmes, he talked about when they traded Matthew Stafford, he waited for the right trade. That right trade included Jared Goff. He has the right support system. Ben Johnson talked about him wanting to coach him, wanting to have Jared Goff. And we see it's paid off. He's playing as good as football he's ever played in his career. He's comfortable. He's making throws. That guy they talked about in the past, Jared Goff, that's not the present Jared Goff. He's playing at a high level for Detroit.
Lions looking to make the playoffs for the first time since 2016. And I learned something today. The older guys don't wear their rings because they're a lot smaller.
Yeah, we got the diamonds.
Tony and Jason won't put theirs out.
It's true.
Get it now.
These are bracelets, for crying out loud.
All right, we're just getting rolling out here, and coming up, we're going to the Coach's Corner. Jason's conversation with Dan Campbell, and they talk about that hype train. They did it earlier this summer, plus a couple of conversations with some names you might recognize.
Go ahead and live your best life.
To do what you guys did
It shows the character of this team and what you're about.
3-1-3 RIT embodies Detroit. That's the type of players we want. You're going to dig your heels in and go to work. It's a blue-collar city. We're a blue-collar team.
Throw towards the end zone. Touchdown.
That was magical.
When did you realize, like, wait, my arm is special?
I always had a strong arm because of baseball. I remember when I was young, like playing T-ball, and they told me I would have to roll it to first base because I would throw it too hard.
The Chiefs lost 2 icons this offseason. Minority owner Norma Hunt, the First Lady of Football, died in June at the age of 85. She was married to the team's founder and late Lamar Hunt. Norma's believed to be the only woman to go to every Super Bowl. And former Chiefs wideout Otis Taylor died in March at the age of 80. Taylor spent his entire career with Kansas City, winning the team's first Super Bowl in the 1969 season. 2 franchise legends, and Hunt will be honored tonight at halftime. Meanwhile, the Chiefs, of course, are now led by the current face of the sport, the 2-time MVP and Super Bowl champ, Patrick Mahomes, who Chris had a little starstruck moment with over the summer.
Let's have a catch. I mean, I'm about to have a catch with Patrick Mahomes here, so this is going to be awesome.
I'm going to show you how I do.
Your pregame warm-up. You're making all these crazy throws, doing all this. I know you're not just showing off. Like, what's the purpose behind it?
Yeah, I've been a guy that I've always believed if I'm going to do it in the game, I have to practice it. I knew when I got in the pregame, I was like, I'm not going to just sit here and warm my arm up. Let's get into these angles. Let's throw it from the sidearms and see if I, like, how I'm feeling that day.
When did you start to go next level with all that? Was it that rookie year where you didn't play at all?
First year in college, I got on scout team, and you know, on scout team, they let you go a lot of the time. Sometimes they circle the guy they want you to throw it to. And I was like, well, I'm not throwing interceptions, so I'm going to no-look the throw. And then by, like, week 7, they were like, hey, you got to stop the no-looks. Like, you got to just throw the ball the right way.
And, like, Andy Reid is, like, okay with that? Was there a moment where you were finally like, wow, I'm in the trust tree. He's going to let me do some of this crazy stuff?
Once you start doing the easy stuff and you do that stuff well, he lets you have the freedom to be who you are. And you always hear him say, let your personality show.
Let's go, be us all day.
Steph Curry talks about, like, the flow state a little bit, where it's just crazy. You're like Steph Curry with a spiral on some of these plays. What's in your mind of those panic mode moments you're talking about?
The game slows down to where there's sometimes that I even just do it off reaction. I've seen the moment happen before. You see me, I walk the whole field before the game, and I want to see the throws. I want to see those moments, and I want to see what's happening. And so when I'm in that moment, it's not like I'm panicked and I'm throwing it. I'm like, let me just find a way to maneuver the football, get it there, and let the playmakers make the plays happen.
That full interview is on the NFL on NBC YouTube channel, and I feel like we just learned so much about Mahomes, but that's not the entire conversation. What were your other takeaways?
Well, he's just the human is where I want to start. He's a great guy. And then I think it's how he handles all of this, right? He embraces the legacy talk, the chase of 7 rings, right? Everything that's going around this, the greatness. He's the face of the sport, like you said. And yet I feel like he's like, so what? It's still football, and I'm a kid in the candy store, and I'm just having fun, and it's very refreshing.
Yeah, no pressure on him. He's calm. All the pressure's on the defense. I was here 2018 AFC Championship. We thought we were playing great. We're ahead at the half. They haven't scored any points. It was 31 points in the second half. They came out moving. We knew playing against Andy Reid and Mahomes, you needed a first half game plan, and you sure better have a good second half game plan or the points will start to come.
And Dev, you said it's Andy Reid and Mahomes. This is a perfect marriage between head coach, offensive coordinator, and quarterback. Andy, this offense goes back a long, long time. West Coast system. Andy's been running it for 30 years. Mahomes can play within the system and throw the ball on time. Okay, and then when he needs to do something, he needs to bring it down from the side, he's able to do that too. Andy embraces that. He loves it his quarterback makes those kind of throws. And then when it really breaks down, here he goes. He gets himself out of the pocket, and all these guys on the team, they just hang in there with him. The linemen hang in with him. He finds a guy.
It's unbelievable.
He's unbelievable. The vision. You said Steph Curry with a spiral. It's a tremendous comparison. I love this guy.
Hey, look, Patrick Mahomes, he's never lost an opener. He's 5-0 as a starter, but today he will not have his favorite target. Let's bring in Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk. And Mike, as we mentioned, Travis Kelce out with a knee injury. What are you hearing?
Well, Travis Kelce suffered a bone bruise in that knee on Tuesday. There's no structural damage in the knee. The swelling is going down, but I'm told there's mild discomfort. It was enough to get the team and the player to decide out of an abundance of caution to just wait. And hopefully he'll be back next Sunday when the Chiefs go to Jacksonville. And every Chiefs fan in the world is hoping that defensive tackle Chris Jones is back by next Sunday in Jacksonville. But he hasn't been around. He said yesterday, I'm just looking for a raise. Due to make $19.5 million this year. What happened last year was the Rams gave Aaron Donald, also a defensive tackle, $95 million over 3 years. Jones, as of Saturday, was looking for $84 million over 3 years. But Nick Bosa, star pass rusher of the 49ers, got a contract yesterday that pays $34 million per year. That may have changed things. Jones is in the building tonight. He has a suite, and he's prepared to stay away from the team until Week 8. Week 8's important because that's the deadline for showing up, getting credit for this year, and maybe becoming a free agent next year, Maria.
All right, thanks for the update. And Chris Jones finished last season top 5 in sacks, pressures, and QB hits, so his absence will surely be felt by the Chiefs' defense, right, Jack?
There's no question. A lot made about Travis Kelce, but Chris Jones, he's still just 29 years old. He's the leader. He's the personality of that defense, and he's been so clutch during these championship runs.
You can't replace a Chris Jones. He was the best defensive player in all of football, and without Chris Jones, they do not win that Super Bowl. I'm very disappointed in the Chiefs organization because the guy went out there, he took care of business, and he deserves to get paid.
He does, but I put myself in Andy Reid's shoes, and you've got to support your ownership, your front office. This is a popular player, a great player. You've got to make sure there's no schism in the locker room.
And I know that you caught up with defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo coming off the bus. Who has to step up in his absence?
First, he told me without Chris Jones, he's probably going to have to send a little bit more pressure, but he's really looking forward to for some of these young pass rushers to get after the quarterback and see what they can do.
There you go. Might have to lean on that run game as well. Isaiah Pacheco. How about him in the playoffs, in the Super Bowl? That downhill run game he brought to this.
Wait a minute.
There he is, getting ready for opening night.
Give him the ball.
So how about those Detroit Lions? Division favorites for the first time since 1982. We were there when they knocked off Aaron Rodgers, Week 18. So do you believe in the Lions as a division favorite coming into this year?
I don't believe yet, Jack. I'm a lifelong Lions fan. I'm 67 years old. I was 2 when they won their last championship. So the talent is there, but they got to show me.
Coach, you sound like a grumpy old man. I believe in the Lions first because their head coach, Dan Campbell, he continues to motivate these guys. They play extremely hard. I believe in Jared Goff, and the thing that was holding them back last year was their defense, and they're much improved on the defensive side.
Hard to believe they never won it with Matthew Stafford. Let's go back down to the field. Matthew Berry, Chris Sims, they have our FanDuel Focus.
All right, thank you, Jack. All right, FanDuel Focus time. You know it's fantasy football time. A month ago at the Hall of Fame game, your ride-or-die player was Amon-Ra St. Brown.
100%.
Okay, that was for the season.
Yeah.
Does that still hold true for tonight here in Week 1?
Absolutely. Think about last year. Amon-Ra St. Brown played 14 full healthy games. And in those 14 full healthy games, he averaged 7.2 receptions. You think about this Lions team, they lost T.J. Hawkinson last year. Jamison Williams suspended. Their passing game will go through my ride-or-die Amon-Ra St. Brown. And by the way, the Chiefs last year allowed the most receptions to the slot. It's going to be early and often to Amon-Ra tonight.
Well, you got to think with no Chris Jones in the lineup for the Chiefs that they're going to load the box, try to stop the run, and Amon-Ra St. Brown's going to see some favorable matchups. He is the #1 priority in this pass offense. What about the run offense for you, Matthew Berry?
Yeah, Jamal Williams isn't here, but the offense still is. And the guy that replaced Jamal Williams with is David Montgomery. Last year, Jamal Williams, 38 goal-to-go carries, the most in the NFL. So, yes, you mentioned it, no Chris Jones. They'll try to stuff the box, but I don't know if that's going to work. You heard the guys earlier talk about
offensive line.
Right, it's a great offensive line, one of the best in football. My expectation here is that they want to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline. They're going to try to run the ball. Big game coming from Montgomery, especially in the end zone. I think he gets in tonight. That's the same game parlay that I really like. Montgomery, anytime touchdown. Amon-Ra over on the receptions.
All right, you're the man, Matthew Berry. And new FanDuel customers can get $200 in bonus bets when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, all FanDuel customers get $100 off NFL Sunday ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. FanDuel, make every moment more.
All right, thanks, Chris. Let's take a look at some big Week 1 matchups. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they're looking to bounce back from their Super Bowl disappointment. They're going to open up at the Patriots on Sunday at 4:25 on CBS. Got the Packers and the Bears. They'll be on at the same time over on Fox. And then Sunday Night Football here on NBC and Peacock will feature the Cowboys and the Giants. Meanwhile, Monday night on ESPN and ABC, Aaron Rodgers and the new-look Jets will be taking on the Bills. So we're getting set for the start of the season. And to do that, we're joined now by the NFL Commissioner, Roger Goodell, who's with Mike Tirico. Good evening, guys.
Hi, Maria. Happy season. Great to be with the Commissioner. Season 18 for you. As Commissioner, you've done this for a little while now.
I have. I don't want to tell you when I started as an intern. It was 42 seasons ago.
It's crazy. And it gets better every year, it seems. And, you know, it's really great for the Chiefs fans tonight because when they won Super Bowl 54, the next year was COVID, so they weren't able to have a full house for their banner night. And here are the Lions on a big stage early in the season. What a great way to kick off the season.
We think it is. You know, the Lions sort of earned this when they finished the season last year against Green Bay and came out and performed, you know, and beat Green Bay. And Green Bay, that was really a statement game for them. And then we thought this was a great way to start the season off against the Super Bowl champs.
For Kansas City, they have a terrific schedule this year, including a game in Germany. They're in Frankfurt taking on Miami. I looked at the international schedule again this morning. It may be the best set of games that we'll see in London and in Germany. Talk about how the league has continued to grow, and what do you see as the next steps of the NFL in overseas play?
Well, we really see football as a global sport, and we're seeing that kind of reaction. We have 5 games in Europe this year. We expect to do more games in the future. We're looking at games around the world, and we believe this is our next big frontier, and we want to make sure that our game is shared with a global audience. And we believe every time we do, they have more and more interest in the game, and they're really sophisticated fans. You'll see it. They love the game, and the more they can get, the more they love it.
Quick thought, is there still a possibility that we could see a team permanently based overseas?
I don't rule out anything. I think it's possible. I think the debate we've always tried to work on, can you do it competitively and do it in a way that is going to be fair to not just that team, but every other team.
Last question. Gambling is an issue that is constant conversation around the league. At Churchill Downs today, the governor of Kentucky placed the first bet in that state. More states, it's legal. You can do it at some NFL stadiums. Are you comfortable with how the league is reconciling gambling as a business entity for some of the league right now, and players, 10 of whom were suspended this year for gambling? Are you comfortable with where it sits right now and trying to protect the integrity of the game?
Well, Mike, it's one of the reasons we oppose legalized sports betting, because of the risk to the integrity of the game. And so that's always going to be our number one priority. When the Supreme Court overruled that, we have to be in that space. And it's actually helped us with trying to educate our fans, educate our personnel. This isn't just about players. It affects every league employee, every club employee. And so it's pretty simple. If you bet on the NFL and you're a part of the NFL, you've got a problem. And that's not what we're going to allow to happen.
We'll continue to watch that as we go through. Hey, we've been watching the commercials. I guess the whole league season is scripted. You want to tell us who wins at the end?
I got it right here, Mike, but I can't share it with you. So
okay.
I think it's better when it just rolls.
Great to see you. Thank you. Have a great season.
Good to be with you. Thanks for everything.
We'll see you along the way. Roger Goodell, Commissioner of the National Football League. We continue from Kansas City on Kickoff Night 2023, the NFL Kickoff, presented by YouTube TV.
Kickoff is presented by YouTube TV. A lot to celebrate here at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs coming off of a Super Bowl win in Super Bowl 57. 2 titles in the last 4 seasons. They're also looking to become the second team to repeat as champions. It hasn't happened in nearly 2 decades, but they're the team that could possibly pull it off. Bad news for the Chiefs, though, is that their all-pro tight end, Travis Kelce, is inactive tonight. He won't be playing due to a knee injury he suffered in practice a couple of days ago. It's the first time that he'll be missing a game due to injury since 2013. That was his rookie season. It's time now for tonight's breakdown, powered by Microsoft Surface. And we have to talk about exactly what will be missing when you don't have Travis Kelce on the field. 110 receptions, 12 touchdown catches last season.
Yeah, Maria, ridiculous production within the system, but then when the play breaks down, the spontaneous plays that he and Mahomes make, they have the ultimate chemistry. They just know They see the defense. They feel the defense. They're just on the same page. And time again, they come up with plays like this. And then when you throw it to him, he's just hard to tackle.
The other thing I look at, too, this offense, we know they want to attack down the field. Kelsey's kind of the underneath blanket for Patrick Mahomes. Look downfield, Kadarius Toney, Valdez-Scantling, they're not open, and Kelsey works the underneath coverage. That is not going to be available to the same capacity tonight.
And Kelsey always knows the matchup. He knows who's covering him. So if it's a small guy, he plays physical. If it's a linebacker, he uses his quickness to get away from him. It's a tough guy to take out of the lineup because he does so much for everybody else and for that team. His production.
You can't overstress his production. He accounted for 25% of the targets, receiving yards, and receptions for the Chiefs just a season ago. So the question is, who will step up in his absence here in Week 1?
Ray, I think the biggest thing is they have to be more balanced. Isaiah Pacheco, here's a guy who emerged in the middle of the year last year, a Rutgers guy. Hey, he's big and physical. He's hard to bring down. He brings that toughness element to this Kansas City Chiefs offense. We're going to see a lot of him tonight.
I think so. We'll see the running game. I think the other aspect, the passing game to substitute for Kelsey, is going to be Kadarius Toney. We saw that at the end of last year. He's super talented. I think they'll get into that part of the playbook, the screens, the speed sweeps, and maybe a few shots over the top.
And then when it's time to go deep, you're going to find Scantling running deep. Mahomes loves throwing the deep ball, and he'll be looking for number 11 when it's time to throw it.
Did you say Patrick Mahomes? If you heard the fans going wild, that's because number 15 has made his way out of the locker room.
Well, let's not forget this, too.
Okay.
He's been in this offense his whole career.
Yes.
It's Andy Reid, and it's Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay and make it work.
Hey, as great as Kelsey is, you know what Andy Reid and Mahomes are saying? Next man up is going to be Noah Gray, a guy who's played a lot of football for them. Don't be surprised if he has some production tonight. He's got a good feel as well.
So basically, it's still going to be showtime tonight.
It's going to be showtime.
You know it.
Yeah, what did he tell you, Chris, pregame?
I'll be good. We'll be good.
I'll be good.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, if you're the Lions and all you've been doing is how are we going to defend Mahomes and Kelsey? You've been doing this all offseason, and now Kelsey's not playing. What changes?
I'm sure the Lions had 2 game plans, the with Kelsey and the without Kelsey. Okay. So all you do is you flip your brain to maybe it was 2 days ago. All right, we're going with the without Kelsey plan. Let's lock it in. Let's figure out, are we going to pack the middle of this defense, put an extra safety in there, maybe spy Mahomes, see where he goes, track him all game, and give help to everybody else and not let Mahomes take advantage of the middle of the field.
Yeah, it definitely changes things. It might be an advantage for Kansas City. You don't know what to expect from them now, but I think it's one Detroit. Maybe you just kind of play it by ear here a little bit. See how the game goes. If Tony's the hot guy, maybe in the fourth quarter you double him and just kind of see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, no doubt. And Detroit has to make adjustments. They're having a lot of conversations right now adjusting the game plan. But trust me, all in all, unbalanced, they'd rather have Kelsey on the sidelines not playing this ball game.
Hey, the Lions are in here very confident. I talked to Jason Kabinda before the game. He said, we're going to catch him in a hangover. I don't know if you're going to catch Patrick Mahomes in one. That's the guy who led the league in passing yards, won a Super Bowl MVP, a Super Bowl title, and an NFL MVP. No big deal.
Kind of good.
Just a casual season for Patrick Mahomes. All right, Andy Reid in his 25th season. He's 65 years old, 241 career wins, getting his Chiefs ready to play in Week 1.
NBC's NFL Kickoff Special is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. By FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. By Lowe's, Lowe's knows home improvement. And by Microsoft Surface, powering a better game.
Back at Kansas City, and there is Jared Goff about to take the field. Round number 2 with Patrick Mahomes, and the boos come down.
We are in Kansas City, right?
We sure are. And it is time for our coaching spotlight, brought to you by My Plan from Verizon, the Plan 4 fans, focusing in on 2 well-respected defensive coordinators. And Coach, you have been in a similar position as Steve Spagnuolo. What's the thought process trying to build a winning defense when you know you have a great quarterback and you know you're going to score points?
Yeah, you want to pressure the passer, and Steve Spagnuolo watched Jared Goff play last year. When he's comfortable, he's a great player. So how do you get pressure? Unfortunately for the Chiefs, they lost their 2 best edge rushers, Frank Clark and Carlos Dunlap in the offseason. Now they don't have Chris Jones. So what does that mean, Rodney? They're going to have to dial up pressure. I expect to see a lot of blitzes from the Chiefs today.
I'm really excited to see defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn. They finally got him some talent. Guys like Aiden Hutchinson, he's going to have to be responsible for keeping Patrick Mahomes in the pocket. I think they're solid at the linebacker position, but really the strength of their defense is in that secondary. And they got some dogs, man. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Brian Branch, guys that can play man-to-man coverage and guys that can create turnovers.
That was the focus all offseason, rebuilding that secondary. They have done so. We're going to see some great young pass rushers in this game tonight. You mentioned Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, George Karlaftis, the top 3 rookies a season ago. Opening night at the home of the Chiefs. It just
can't get no better, Jack. Let's go.
Let's play some ball.
A look at the Bud Light celebration cam. Bud Light making it easy to Sunday all season long. And all of these fans, look, they're happy it's Thursday. Like I said, they've been waiting 207 days to come back into this stadium and have an opportunity to celebrate their Super Bowl. The Detroit Lions are coming out, and I can tell you the KC fans aren't excited to see them, okay, as they continue to take the field. Matter of fact, let's go ahead and go on the field. Let's start with Kadarius Toney, obviously. A little bit more production will be needed today from him, Jason, without Travis Kelce.
Hey, I've got Aiden Hutchinson, the number 2 player in the draft last year. Sacks, interceptions, fumble recoveries, big plays, but energy and effort. That's why they got to watch this guy hustle to the ball tonight.
Hey, Sim, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more talented receiver in the National Football League than Kadarius Toney. Raw ability, quickness, speed, explosiveness. The only issue with him is not athletic ability, it's been availability. He's been hurt a lot during his young career. If he can play and stay healthy, he gives Mahomes another weapon in the middle of that defense to make a lot of plays.
Really excited to see wide receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. And when I saw him coach, he's a lot thicker than you imagine. I mean, if you're gonna hit him, you better tackle him. He plays in the slot, he plays all over the field. He's one of the top 10 receivers in this league. He should have a big game tonight.
One of the guys to watch on this Kansas City Chiefs defense tonight is number 22, Trent McDuffie. Right? I expect without Chris Jones being in the lineup, we know this offensive line for the Lions is very good. The Chiefs will have to load the box. They're going to have to play man-to-man. McDuffie is most suited to play Amon-Ra St. Brown. His great change of direction ability, McDuffie can match that. Watch out for him tonight.
Man, I talked to Brendan Daly, the linebacker coach for Kansas City Chiefs. He said the heart and soul of this defense, Nick Bolton, you're going to see a lot of him. He's going to be going sideline to sideline, making plays everywhere. He's a playmaker and shows up in big games.
Looking forward to seeing right tackle Penei Sewell, 22 years old. They named him a captain. Dan Campbell said that he is the foundation of this defense. He's big, he's athletic, he plays very physical. I can't wait to see him play tonight.
Guys, we've been standing here in the end zone just trying not to get taken out by an offensive lineman getting set for the game. But, Tony, what have you noticed so far being down here on the
Well, right here with these guys, how big they are on the offensive line. And I talked to a couple of their coaches. They know Chris Jones is not playing tonight. They're going to use these guys to attack with the running game, Devin.
I had a chance to talk to Jamar Gibbs, and he looked really, really excited, like he's going to get a lot of action, both in the passing game and the run game, Devin.
I was talking to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I was ready to go. His energy is through the roof, man. Oh, man.
That's how you used to play.
Devin's first week without a game to play, so we're going to get him through it, okay? We can do it. All right, let's send it over to our quarterbacks and see what they've noticed about Jared Goff.
Hey, Simsy, one of the things we're going to see a lot of tonight is we call them revealing formations. Take the running back or the tight end and put them outside of the receiver and see what coverage you get. Do you get man-to-man? Do you get zone? Do you get pressure? Then bring them back in, and then Goff's going to have 4 or 5 plays that he can get to. He's going to have the answers to the test before the ball hits his hand.
Very comfortable doing that. And then the other aspect of this offense that I think both of you love, both of us love, Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator, the play-action pass game. You just heard the guys talking about how big this offensive line is. There's no Chris Jones. Jared Goff thrives in play-action pass. 15 touchdowns, no interceptions over the last 9 games of the season last year. He'll stand in there and make some big throws down the field. Over to you, Maria.
Well, you know, Jared Goff threw 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions over the final 9 games, which means his head coach was pretty happy about it. We're going to hear from him and Jason when we come back.
Tonight's aerial coverage is brought to you by Smirnoff. For every Week 1 opening game coin toss that lands on tails, 21 fans will win cocktails for game days courtesy of Smirnoff via a $500 prize. Scan the QR code on your screen to learn more.
With the high expectations in Detroit, Dan Campbell says he doesn't feel pressure. He feels inspired. So this summer, Jason spoke with Campbell about all that hype, but not before they looked back on their time together as teammates.
Well.
The great Jason
Stop
Garrett.
right there.
I hope I can still catch this ball. There we go. You can still wing it, too.
6'5", 265. What a target. How about this?
Oh, boy.
Motley Crue, huh?
Yeah, there's some characters on this one.
No doubt. How does that guy who called everybody dude, love to go to biker bars, you ever think that guy was going to be a head coach of an NFL football team?
Not at that time, I didn't. You don't ever think, hey, you're going to end up being a coach one day. Certainly not NFL. It's crazy.
That's outstanding, gentlemen. You earned it, man.
You were as tough as they come, played with more effort than anybody. How much of who you were as Dan Campbell as a player has influenced you as the head coach and how you want to build this team?
A ton. You know, because I would say guys like me, when it pertains to the way you play the game, the style of play, so yet that, but with talent, you know? And how do we build a roster of guys that think about the game the way I did, love the grind, but man, they got some talent.
How do we slow down the hype train, or do we want to?
Yeah, you got to be careful, especially we have a young team. We know all we can do is put the work in.
All roads go through Detroit.
We're still hungry. We still got something to prove to ourselves.
Everything that you put into it, you got my respect.
You having fun doing this?
I love it. I absolutely love it,
yeah.
You know? And I think the best part, and you know this, is being around the guys.
Yeah.
The brotherhood, watching these guys grind. You're competing, and you want to win games, and you want to be a champ. All that comes with it, man, it's just the best.
That full conversations on the NFL on NBC YouTube channel, but the only question I have for you, Jason, is did you go to the biker bars with them?
Oh, I did.
I
did. First off, how great is Dan Campbell?
Awesome.
31 years in the NFL as a player and a coach. He's easily one of my favorite guys. Easy to see why these guys love playing with him. And Maria, culture is a big word. Everybody's talking about it. It ain't about what's on the T-shirts. It's the team you build.
Yeah.
And he and Brad Holmes are hip to hip about the kind of guys they want in this football team. They're a reflection of Dan Campbell, and they're fun to watch.
And they got those tough guys up front. Coach Dungy talked about it earlier. That's a big offensive line, and they want to make sure they go out there and dominate tonight. I'm looking forward to see this offensive line.
Yeah, and you remember Dan Campbell was 3-13-1 his first season, coming off the winning season here. Coming up next, lift every voice and sing.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn your attention to the GEHA deck in the West End Zone for a special performance of Lift Every Voice and Sing by the Kansas City Boys Choir and the Kansas City Girls Choir.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on. Let us march on. Let us march on till victory is won.
Kansas City Boys and Girls Choirs made up of high schoolers and middle schoolers aged 11 to 17. And now the players are headed back into the locker room. We've got less than half an hour on for Week 1. The reigning Super Bowl champion, Kansas City Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes look to begin their title defense in Week 1. We've got more right after this.
NBC's NFL Kickoff Special is brought to you by TCL. Experience game day greatness with the NFL's official TV partner. By Uber One. Join to save on rides and eats. By My Plan from Verizon, the plan for fans. And by NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV. Sign up now.
Over 70,000 fans looking to make their way here into Arrowhead Stadium as the Kansas City Chiefs look to unveil their second Super Bowl banner in the last 4 years. A lot to be excited about in Chiefs Kingdom here today. Now they're just going to set their sights on becoming the first repeat champion in nearly 2 decades. And guess who's coming in here cool, calm, and collected as always, guys? Patrick Mahomes with the shades on, walking into Week 1.
When you're the best player on the field, it's easy to be calm and cool.
Completely undefeated in his 5 career starts and Week 1. Taking a little break. Yeah. Taking it on the scene. He was one of the first ones out here, too, and he went straight to the bench. Then, now it's time to get pumped up.
Here comes the juice. Here comes the energy, hopping around.
He's over there listening to those Devin McCourty pregame speeches.
Oh, there we go. He just got them from you.
It's Devin McCourty right there.
Telling his squad not to be complacent. This is Week 1. It's our time. And then a beautiful moment with one of the Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Top-notch guy. Never lose sight of that.
The perfect leader of this league. Listen, Patrick Mahomes became the first ever player to be the passing leader and win a Super Bowl. He was also the first since Kurt Warner in 1999 to win the regular season MVP and then the Super Bowl. And after trailing the Eagles by 10 at halftime in that game, he led only the 6th double-digit comeback in Super Bowl history. So all that means is his status among the all-time greats has already been cemented by all of those accolades that we just named. But his return from that ankle injury in last year's playoff run, that's cemented as well.
If I say Willis Reed, Kirk Gibson, Jordan Flutie, performance, what comes to your mind there?
I think the biggest thing for me is just those guys know you got to just lay it all on the line.
If Mahomes is shaking up in a lot of pain, grab that right ankle right away.
He's in agony on the sideline.
For me, it's not even about going out there and playing injured. It's about showing up for your teammates. We work all season for this. There was nothing else taking me out of that game.
The Chiefs Kingdom will raise a banner.
You not only had one of the greatest years in quarterback history, you're now in the greatest quarterback all-time conversation. You're one of the most popular sports stars in the world. And now you're gritty and tough. I'm good. And I don't think people expect that from diva superstar quarterback all the time.
You come back and you throw a jump pass off your left foot.
I feel like I've always been that. Toughness has been part of me.
Just make it up out there, Patrick.
Mechanics mastered. Offense, you look really comfortable. What's the next phase of your game that you're looking to go, I got to go to the next level here?
I think it's just continue to become a better leader.
Every time we on this field, we dominate. All game long, we're flying around.
That's not only on the field and how I play, but how I push these guys to be great every single day.
Don't relax. Don't relax. When it counts, we did it. Now let's get better.
You look at our team, we had a lot of young guys that won the Super Bowl. So you would think that would mean that we're just going to have this run. But I think a lot of people know is like once you win it, everybody wants to relax. Right. I want to make sure no one relaxes. I want to make sure that everybody knows that they have to take it to the next step now. Everybody's going to give us their best shot if they weren't already, and we have to know that going into the season.
All right, there's not a complacent bone in Patrick Mahomes' body. And we talk so much about what a great guy is, but he's got a chip on his shoulder. It's clear.
Guys that talented aren't supposed to be gritty and chippy, right? Every time I talk to Andy Reid, he's a gym rat. He'll rip your heart out. He'll rip your throat out. He is the ultimate competitor.
You just could never rattle him. We would talk trash to him. He might throw an interception. It just didn't bother him. Everybody watched the quarterback show on Netflix. He throws an interception. He goes, oh, that's how they going to play me? I'm going deep next. And then he took over and dominated the game.
That's it, Dave. The great Arthur Ashe used to say, ideal performance state is to be mentally tight and physically loose. I don't know there's a better example than Patrick Mahomes.
That's a gem right there.
Okay, but he's not going to have his favorite target again. What does it look like for Patrick Mahomes without Travis Kelce, who's out with the knee injury week 1?
Well, I think the guy I look at, and we talked about Kadarius Toney, but they got so many good receivers. He knows this offense like the back of his hand. Sky Moore, some of these other receivers will take the place. They drafted Rashee Rice out of SMU. There'll be some of those underneath routes that they missed from Kelce. They'll take up the slack there.
Hey, injury provides opportunity. When Tyreek Hill left here last year, everybody said the sky is falling. Hey, they went back. They were the best offense in football. They won the world championship. They're going to move on. This guy can handle it.
Right.
Expect the running back to have a big game. Pacheco, like you said, Rutgers guy, so he's going to dominate. But McKinnon is a guy that I think will have a big game tonight.
All right, Patrick Mahomes thrown 18 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in week 1 games, and he's 5-0. You know, I'm just saying. But Jack, take it away. What are you guys looking at?
Always been good in week 1, always good coming off a bye. You just heard him talking about without Travis Kelce, he's got these new wide receivers elevating into bigger roles, plus 2 new offensive tackles. Of course, Jawan Taylor, he's the big money guy, but Donovan Smith, more of a question mark over there on his blind side.
I think this is a perfect place for him because he has a veteran offensive line. They'll do a great job of communicating with him and protecting him, but he also has Patrick Mahomes, who does such a great job of getting rid of the ball or extending plays, helping him out.
And Rodney, Patrick is going to have to be fantastic with this team because their supporting cast is not the same. You mentioned the 2 offensive tackles. 2 best wide receivers are gone from last year. 2 best edge rushers are gone. You're starting free safety and no Chris Jones. It's not the same team, and Patrick's going to have to carry this team early.
It's amazing just looking at Kansas City. They seem deflated. They don't seem like they come out with the same energy. And just from a fan standpoint, I don't feel the same energy because Chris Jones is not there. So defensively, that's a big, big loss for him, Jack.
All right, fellas, moment of truth here. Time for the picks. 65% of the country is on the champs, dropping that new banner and starting out with the win. 2 of their best players out. That Chris Jones injury is massive. Of course, without Kelce, tight end, 3rd-year tight end, Noah Gray. Andy Reid is very high on him. Massive shoes to fill. I'm taking Mahomes just to figure this thing out. Give me Kansas City. How about you, Coach?
Well, I'll tell you what, I think Mahomes is going to figure things out on the offensive side, but defensively, I worry. They're not going to be able to stop them. They're not going to be able to pressure. They're going to have the blitz. That's going to leave the secondary in man coverage. I think Jared Goff has a big night tonight. I'm taking Detroit.
I'm looking at Detroit Lions, and their secondary is really the strength of their defense. They got some new guys where the defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, can play more man-to-man. He's got some guys that can create turnovers. I'm going with you, Coach. I'm going with the upset. I like the Detroit Lions tonight.
You guys have been hanging out too much at the hotel. Finals came to agreement. Let's go to Mike Florio.
Hey, are the Lions ready for prime time? Their fans are definitely ready. And this prime time is the Chiefs, and it's Mahomes. In Mahomes, I trust on all occasions. Give me the Chiefs, Matthew.
I not only trust Mahomes, I trust Andy Reid. As head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid is 9-1 in season openers. I say tonight he goes 10-1. It'll be close, but give me the Chiefs. Chris?
Well, I look at the matchup and just go, hey, had the Lions been in this environment, I know the Lions are a good football team, but this is different from them. And I think that's going to affect them early on. I expect the Chiefs to punch them in the face early on. Of course I'm going with Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City at home.
Go ahead, Jason.
Hey, Maria, I love the Lions. I love their head coach. I love what they're building there. Look for them to play keep away. They're going to try to run the ball, keep number 15 on the sideline. But at the end of it, there's too much Chiefs against this defense. They ain't there yet.
I love it when he builds
take
up the other team and then chooses. Yeah, I'm going with Kansas City. Go ahead, Devin.
Here we go. I was at Casey on corner. They gave me this. I'm going Chiefs Kingdom. There we go. Look at that right there. They told me I better show this, so right there we go. Chiefs Kingdom.
It's upside down.
Oh, okay.
Get it right. Get it right.
All right, so we got Devin here. You're definitely drinking the Kool-Aid. You're rolling with Kansas City.
Patriots ring next to a Chiefs flag. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
It's a flag on the play. 3 Patriots rings surrounding the Kansas City Chiefs. But it's a great moment for football. We are getting ready for the 2023 season. Just moments away from kickoff and a championship celebration for the Chiefs. On the other side, you're going to hear from Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, and Melissa Stark. We will see you at halftime. Enjoy the game.
Thank you for watching this presentation of NFL Network.